Hi, I'm Michelle the Irritable Vegan, and in today's video, things are about to get saucy. I hope you enjoy it. Let's begin with that childhood favourite, homemade tomato ketchup. In a non-stick pan, heat 1 tablespoon of garlic oil over medium heat. Add 2 to 3 whole clove seeds, half a teaspoon of asafoetida, spread it out across the surface of the oil to toast evenly. Add 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon of chilli powder, and stir the spices for about 30 seconds, ensuring they don't burn. Add 200 grams or 1 scant cup of tomato puree. Mix it into the seasoned oil before adding 1/2 cup or 125 ml of water. Pour in 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Stir the tomato paste thoroughly until the spices and liquid are incorporated and a thick, smooth sauce is achieved. Sprinkle over 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. This cuts through the acidity and gives a mild sweetness to the tomatoes, but feel free to reduce according to taste. Add 1 teaspoon of salt and a further 1/4 cup or 60 ml of water. Grind a pinch of black pepper, allow the ketchup to come to a gentle boil and then simmer on low for approximately 20 minutes. Cover with a vented lid or preferably a splatter screen if you have one. Stir regularly as the sauce simmers and add up to another 1/4 cup or 60 ml of water if you feel it's becoming too thick. I ended up using 1 full cup or 250 ml in total to get the perfect consistency. Once you're happy with the sauce, turn off the heat and remove the whole cloves. The longer you cook this, the more intense it becomes. I was happy with mine at 20 minutes, but continue for up to an hour if you prefer. Pour the ketchup into a sterilised glass bottle or jar. I only recommend using glass containers to store tomato-based sauces. They're not only easier to sterilise, but they also don't react with the acidity of the tomato and vinegar. Use this as you would regular ketchup and store in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. It makes a fantastic base for my homemade barbecue sauce, or mix 1 tablespoon with 1 tablespoon of homemade mayo and a teaspoon of Dijon mustard to create a delicious burger sauce. A FODMAP safe portion is anywhere from 1 tablespoon up to 1/4 cup. Next up is protein-packed vegan mayonnaise. To a blender, crumble in 185 grams of firm pressed tofu. Pour in 1/3 cup or 80 ml of almond milk. Next, add 3 tablespoons of avocado oil. You can also use regular vegetable oil. 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard and 1/8 teaspoon of black salt for that classic eggy flavour. Blend everything together until smooth, glossy and creamy. There's no need to heat. Store in a sterilised glass jar in the fridge. I repurpose old vegan mayonnaise jars especially for this recipe. Depending on your tofu, this can store for up to 2 weeks in the fridge or up to the use by date of your tofu, whichever's sooner. Anywhere from 1 tablespoon up to 1/2 cup is a safe low FODMAP portion. Use this as you would regular mayo in salads, sandwiches and my personal favourite, chickpea mash. Alternatively, it's delicious stirred through a safe serve of pasta or as a topping for jacket potatoes. Next, we've got smoky, spicy barbecue sauce. To a non-stick saucepan, add 250 ml of ketchup. Our homemade version works best. 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, but omit this if you don't want a classic hint of sweetness. 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. 2 teaspoons of Vegemite or FODMAP safe yeast extract, 1/2 teaspoon of liquid smoke, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of smoked salt, and a dash of black pepper. Stir in 125 ml or 1/2 cup of water. Whisk everything together until smooth. For an optional kick of flavour, add 1 tablespoon of bourbon. Slowly bring the sauce to a gentle boil, then simmer on low for 20 minutes, stirring frequently. Allow the sauce to cool before storing in a sterilised glass bottle in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. This bold, smoky sauce gives a deep umami flavour. It's great to use as a marinade, cooking sauce, or as a condiment or dip. Try marinating your own barbecue jackfruit, stir into a safe serving of beans or veggie chilli, or brushing over a juicy seitan steak. Last but not least, for those of you that can tolerate spice, we've got a fiery sweet chilli sauce. Let's begin by adding 185 ml or 3/4 of a cup of filtered water to a non-stick saucepan. Add to this 125 ml or half a cup of white rice vinegar. Sprinkle in 50 grams or 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Add half a teaspoon of dried chilli flakes if you can tolerate it fiery. Half a teaspoon of powdered ginger, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 whole star anise pod. Bring to a rapid boil before reducing to a simmer for 10 minutes. Reduce the heat to minimum before adding a corn flour slurry, made from 2 teaspoons of corn flour and 1 tablespoon of water. Increase the heat to medium and stir continuously just until the sauce comes back to a simmer. Do not allow it to boil. Stir and simmer the sauce for about 2 minutes until it thickens to the consistency of sweet chilli sauce. Don't forget to remove the star anise pod before bottling the sauce in a sterilised glass bottle. Keep it in the fridge for up to 2 weeks and give it a thorough shake before each use. Feel free to experiment with the chilli to sugar ratios to suit your own tastes and tolerances. As given, this recipe is safe in portions of 1 to 2 tablespoons. To give it more of a traditional red colour, replace half the dried chilli flakes with red chilli powder or cayenne pepper. It's delicious stirred into your favourite noodle or rice dishes, as a marinade for stir-fried tofu, or added in equal parts to soya sauce and peanut butter for a spicy satay dip. If you prefer something a bit milder, then fold it through unsweetened coconut yogurt, homemade mayo or tomato sauce. I really hope you've enjoyed these basic low FODMAP sauces. Let me know if there are any sauces or flavours that you're missing, and I'll try to feature them in future videos. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!